welcome to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World. I'm Stelios Hatsakis, CEO of One Business World. Leading Entrepreneurs of the World features entrepreneurs, founders, and business leaders presenting on cutting-edge topics and the latest industry developments. Today, we're very pleased to welcome global entrepreneur Ahmed Fawzi. Ahmed is a tech entrepreneur who dedicated his entrepreneurial journey to fitting underutilized technologies to different industries. His first venture in 2007 introduced innovations to several sectors, such as telecom, energy, assertive technologies, drive and flight simulation, food analysis, and event management. At MICEtribe, Ahmed and his team offer a simplified software solution that enables event managers of all levels and technical knowledge to plan and operate virtual, in-person, or hybrid events of any scale on their own and for free, so event managers can swiftly swing between different event formats as the situation updates, and best of all, can do it on their own with their existing team at a low cost. Ahmed also dedicates a portion of his time to free mentoring and coaching of aspiring entrepreneurs so they can benefit from what he learned and hopefully avoid his entrepreneurial mistakes. Ahmed, it is great to have you here with us today to hear more about the future of global business without handshaking. Welcome to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World.
Thank you so much, Stelios, and thank you for the intro. It's I couldn't have done it better.
Welcome.
Thanks. What I wanted to talk about here today, Stelios, is the future of business without handshaking. And what we really mean by that is probably the impact of social distancing on global business in general. What did it do to it? How bad is it at the moment? And if it's gonna get worse in terms of are the right technologies there to make businesses conduct all their daily business in a more effective way, or what's happening in that area? What are the alternatives that are available today and how effective they are? And of course, like all of us have spent a full year thinking about pivoting and how to handle the new reality. So what I'm also hoping today is that I'll be sharing what we have learned in our industry and share with the attendees as well some of the upcoming opportunities that we believe that they are the next big things, right? So before going into the presentation itself, I wanted to speak slightly about the history of handshaking, because that's by itself is something you and me know that it's an essential for business. So they say that handshaking as a gesture started about 3,000 years ago, 1000 BC, and it was a way for people to basically, when they meet, to make sure that you have no weapon and shake your hand so they know that your sleeve is also empty. And somehow this evolved and spread more and more until it became a global gesture that everyone uses around the planet to signify that we are now friends, I trust you, we agree on everything. But one thing for sure for us as business people, and especially sales, is that a handshake always meant we are closing this meeting or we're closing this to another action, which was something always important in any business deal or any business. Nowadays we do something like this, but the virtual way of doing it is that you finish a meeting with someone and you say, I'm going to send you a calendar invite, for example, right? And because of that, there is actually an entire business that is entirely focusing on the handshaking, right? Which is the events business. So we ourselves, we were in the event business, we were event planners. And you know that our business was basically, let's put thousands of people into a confined area and encourage them to shake hands as much as possible, And if you, the value that we would offer is that if you in your business is, for example, making a one handshake per day, having one meeting per day, how can we take that and amplify it and offer an experience where you can have 50 handshakes per day, right? So this is a business that was pretty big. That's a business, and still actually. So it's the last valuation for that business, or the mice industry, was valued at $3 trillion annually. So imagine $3 trillion was into the mice industry, the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. And somehow this has been rebranded in a way that putting people in a room and making them handshake has become like the branding that these are the exact instructions of how to spread diseases, right? So it became a challenge now. It became something that now event planners, they literally like hit a wall and suddenly everything stopped for them. But we do know that if that has stopped, an industry of $3 trillion is not going to collapse, because how else would the world, conduct business and close big deals if it wasn't for something like that? So the question is, can this industry be digitized? Can it be totally digitized? Can it be 100% digital? And I don't know if you know this, but 70% of human communication is actually non-verbal communication. So this is all the things that are like the eye contact, the facial impressions, the pauses in conversation, the tone of voice, the body language, the laughs, the attention, the proximity, who's sitting on the edge of the chair, the chemistry, the firm handshake, sharing a coffee, a meal, the energy of the networking of the event, the wow factors, all of these kind of things were what made events a special experience, what made events something that was very efficient and always reaped results, all of these kind of things. So how can we digitize all of that? And I am honestly, myself, I am also skeptical somehow that this will be something that we will be able to digitize A to Z. But there are many ways. There are actually a lot of trials and a lot of efforts into this. So of course, you know that the alternatives right now, for example, we are doing one of them, is that we are on Zoom on a webinar, and we are having an event. You are in New York, I'm in Egypt, some of the team members are in other locations, and the attendees are maybe attending from different places. So it is in a way working. And the tools that are available today, they are great from other angles. But because they offer a lot, and they are great, and they offer relatively good experience, but also the in-person events is something that you cannot compete with. That left a lot of event managers somehow stuck. They split into maybe two groups. One group is thinking, okay, I need to take my team, or we're gonna switch our events to virtual events. And with that, the team that they have existing with them, people that are trained to deliver life experiences, are suddenly not very effective, and they need to have new teams that can deliver virtual experiences, right? But a lot are doing this. And then the other group of event managers are the ones that are trying to downsize as much as possible and waiting for things to get better. And what should we do? Go this way or that way? So what I have here, I have some of the pros and cons of each, all right? And what I'm hoping here is that we can open the eyes of some of the attendees on what is the value in each one of them, what's the pros and cons, and how can they benefit from both, all right? So the in-person meetings or the in-person events, first of all, in the pros, they always offer the memorable experience. You travel to another country, you experience the valet parking, the gift items, the confetti, the pretty promoters, all of these kind of things that give the wow factor for an event. All the networking, the quality of everything around you, the lighting, and so on. So it was something that when you make an event, people will talk about for a while. Something that we don't have right now when it comes to virtual events. Also, one of the great things is that you had the full attendee focus. So when you had an attendee coming to your event, someone who flew across the globe to attend an event, they are there to network. They are there to do business. Versus maybe someone who is having lunch while attending an event, or watching a YouTube video that they posed, or doing something on their own computer. So this made in-person events very efficient and always taken more serious. The business that you speak about on an event is most probably to progress and become bigger business than the ones that you maybe found on the internet or conducted through emails and so on. On the other hand, for you to run an in-person event or a live event, you have to go through a lot of permits. You have to work with, venues, fire brigades, civil defense, all of these entities that you had to prepare a lot of work for, so you can actually take an event live and bring masses of people into it. And of course, because of that and other things, there was the cost of the materials, the cost of all the contractors and suppliers that you need to hire to deliver an experience. One of the things as well was the stress and planning time. Most of these live events, they would take about 10 months, 11 months to prepare and plan for. And most of the time, those 11 months are not even good enough. They're, you go into the event late. And then all of this to deliver something that will last for 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, maximum 5 days. So all of these cons, the logistic planning, and then comes the crowd management, right? The crowd management is by itself another science. How are you going to deal with all the crowds coming in and out and so on? And now we have the cherry on the top, the infections that you can spread if you put a lot of people into one place, which is something that I personally believe that the world got too traumatized with COVID, and most probably even by the time planet Earth is vaccinated and we're going back to in-person events, I believe that regulatory authorities will still have restrictions of how many people can be inside venues at any given time. They will ask for a lot of ways on how to track these individuals, and in case there is a case or something, how can you track it and find it, right? Now let's speak about virtual events. So virtual events, one of the great things is the attendees are location independent. Anyone can attend from anywhere, correct? And this opens a whole new world of opportunities. You are not anymore serving people in your geographical reach, but now you are serving anyone who can speak the language of your event, or anyone who has interest in the product or service that your event is focused on. This allowed also people to attend much more events and travel less, which give them much more opportunity for networking and so on. Virtual events can run for longer days. So instead of having an event that can run for 3-4 days because maybe you're paying $1 million a day for the venue, now you don't have that restriction anymore. Adding an extra day doesn't cost anything. So this is one of the opportunities as well. You can extend an event on a longer period of time, and that will not cost you much more. And then you have all the content, all the interactions, everything is recorded and organized. When you have a conversation with someone, it's there. This webinar, for example, is going to stay recorded. So big parts of the experience gets recorded and organized in a way that you can always find it again. And one of the things that I believe is good and added a lot of value is now that conversations start and ends on the same environment or on the same medium. So before, you would be on an event, you would share business cards with someone, and then you can go back and send them an email, and this was a weak link in the conversion. If you didn't leave a good impression, maybe you will not get a response from them. But now everything is in the same place. You start the conversation on a platform, and you continue that conversation on the same platform, and you're continuing from there. So that conversion between one medium to another is gone, which is great. On the other hand, the cons, I am right now, for example, speaking to a camera. I don't know who's on the other side. I'm not hearing responses. You know, I don't know if someone, for example, smiled to this, or if I'm giving maybe a talk or a speech, I don't have any mass feedback for the speaker to know if people are uploading or not. So that this connection is there, and it does affect the content delivery. Another thing as well is that you have much less attention span. People are not willing to stay for much longer hours as they are when they go to an event and all their focus is there, right? And also people are using their computers, they're from their homes, so they have their family around, they have their all their business emails and things that are attacking them on the same machine that they're using to attend a virtual event. And then lastly, people are just not convinced. Studies, you know, they're just still haven't done that shift. If face-to-face was always better than making a phone call, why do you want to convince me that a computer call is the best thing right now? You know, doesn't matter how much you promote it. So that is also an element. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? And you're probably thinking that the answer is hybrid events. All events should be hybrid. And I think yes and no. Definitely hybrid events is something that will be on the rise every day. I believe that at some point, all events will become hybrid events. But we still don't know some of them, how are they going to even become hybrid? So when you have, I don't know, things like racing events or sports events or food events where you go and try different foods and things like this, on industrial events, fashion weeks, you know, how are these going to become a hybrid experience? I was having a meeting with one of the CEOs of very big, one of the biggest firms for event management. And he was telling me, I was telling him, how can you convert your events into hybrid events? It's just not going to happen, you know, and they run a few industrial events. And he said to me, our job is the lead generation. Our job is to offer you the platform that connects you with other people. So instead of you flying to 3-4 countries, for example, now you can find the leads or the suppliers that you need. And from there, you can decide, okay, I'm going to have one trip to the US, for example, and I have 5 suppliers to meet or 5 clients to meet and so on. So it kind of facilitates it. And somehow that did not happen for them, even though the idea is there and how to tackle it is there, but it somehow did not materialize. Their next event was a small in-person event that they had to restrict. So this is the challenges, but of course, in every challenge or in every crisis, there is opportunities, right? And there are many of these opportunities that we see today. And a lot of them are really, the demand is much higher than what is available in the market and what could be supplied. So some of the things that we identified, 4 of them to be exact, I'm going to be speaking about now. These are potential businesses that startups can take today and work on from today. And I can guarantee you that these will be good businesses to start today. Maybe it needs about a year or so until they ripe, but they are definitely on high demand. So one of them, for example, is virtual event studios. So virtual event studios is when you build a studio. Probably the picture that you see here is nothing but some green screens and chroma keys. And this is one of the efforts that has been done into this. It's one of the virtual platforms. But also what they do combined with that is that they host their events on their virtual studio. And now every event, you want your event to be different. You want the experience to be different, right? So for that experience to be different, you need to offer what makes it look different. So by building a virtual event studio and having the right people to operate it, you can start hosting events. Instead of us, for example, hosting this right now on Zoom as a webinar, it can become much more interactive. And in this area, we started seeing at least 10 new softwares that came into the last year to offer that, trying to deliver, you know, something as close as possible to an in-person event. as I said, everything that you see here is digital, is virtual, but this person is not. So that's the other thing as well. Now events are not about they're not about the quantity anymore, right? You don't need to have, events are not going to brag and say, we had 20,000 attendees, we had 50,000 attendees and so on. It's not about that quantity anymore. The times of the event is shorter. You will attend for 2-3 hours a day. What is the content? And I think, Stelis, you're doing like a great job in this because you're sourcing from now you're shifting to that. You're building the content that in your event. So this is by itself, I believe, is another business opportunity that's opening up. Content delivery. Where is I have an event, I want to host it somewhere on a virtual studio, but I don't have the MC. I don't have the moderator, the professional moderator that will do this. I don't have the right speakers. Maybe I need some help into sourcing the right speakers, sourcing the right content, have it written for me and all of that, so I can deliver something that is based on quality. So when people attend for those 2 hours, they find what they are looking for and they can, become loyal attendees for my event, right? The third thing for sure is event engagement apps. So also in the last year, there has been many event engagement apps, and somehow all these event engagement apps, they always miss something. So now there are basically 3 groups of apps. Some of them enables video conferencing and webinars and so on, like Zoom, WebEx, Teams, and all of these kind of platforms. And their main focus is, let's have a virtual, let's allow people to meet face to face so they can have that communication again, so I can see you and you can see me, and most probably it feels familiar. But then on the other hand, they are missing, for example, the matchmaking, the questions and answers, these kind of like engagement. And then you have the second group of engagement apps that are focused on matchmaking. So you say what you're interested in when you're going to that event, other people say that, and some algorithms will match people together to allow you to schedule meetings and so on. They might be missing the video conferencing part, for example, So this is also the second group. And the third group is the CMSs or the content management apps. You are attending an event and that event has a program, it has some speakers, who are the exhibitors, how can I visit virtually their booth, and all of these kind of things. There are some trials at the moment to combine all 3 of those into one, but none of them is good enough that you can use in every event. And every time you change an event, you find that, oh, I'm not going to be able to use that software anymore. I need to use that other one instead of the one we used before, because now the focus or the event format itself is different. So this is definitely an area that has a lot of potential. And in this area, a lot of these event apps that used to charge $1 per attendee or $2 per attendee are now charging $7 and $8 because people are desperate for the medium that will allow them to communicate with one another. Another area is event digital marketing. Of course, this is something that every event manager was doing before. We were doing offline marketing, we were doing digital marketing, but something that you could host with your own team and they could deliver that is not the same craft anymore. Because again, your event is not geo-focused, your marketing strategies has changed. And now you need to outreach and find the people that are interested in your event, will speak your event language on different parts of the world. And they have that focus. You need to start studying more demands and supply globally instead of in a certain location. So it opens a big opportunity, but no one is still doing it on a scale big enough to actually attract people from all over the world, unless the ones that have big brands and they are taking these brands virtual. Like in Estonia, there is Latitude event, for example, Web Summit, these kind of events that they already have very powerful brands and they can attract people to attend in any certain way. So the question always remains for event organizers. And if there are any of the attendees here that are from the event industry or about to start something, the question is always how to start. What do I need today to be able to to run effective and successful events. And we have some points, I'll share them right now, that would allow any basic business or any average computer user to start hosting events, because that's also not only for events, Stelios, but this is also something for your business to be noticed. You need to start doing that part of outreach, correct? So your own maybe corporate events. If you're a big corporate, you need to start hosting your own corporate events so your team and employees can start engaging with one another again as they used to. So it's becoming a bigger and bigger opportunity every day, actually. So the first thing you will need is probably you need to make sure that your data stays in one place. Every day there's a new app, you will go and try that new app and you will be hosting your data on it. And then your next event is of a different format. And for example, the format that we're having here, we don't really need the matchmaking, but maybe your next event will. And once you change that app, your data have went from one place to another place, and it becomes hard to manage this data. So the first thing you will probably need is an event or data processing application that can sit and become the global or center for your data. And it can lend this data to different apps every day. So you can, swing between these kind of apps, but keep all your analytics in one place. You need to make sure that you're also not vendor locked. So even if you use an event application or a data processing application, make sure you're not vendor locked to one. Something from the start looking for what can you do once you want to take your data and move it to a different application, right? Again, depending on your event, you will need to do a lot of trials and see which kind of event engagement app gives you the best result in the end. No one knows yet. No one knows which one is better than the other. And if we know, we don't know which one is best for the events that you are running, right? One of the things as well is that you need your application or the applications that you will use to allow you to switch between virtual, in-person, or hybrid easily. And that's not only because of the restrictions. So it's not because you are running an event today and suddenly you hear that your event will be canceled, so you have to take it virtual. No, it's because really these two formats, day by day, we learn that they are complementing one another. So for example, you have your event, the speaker series, and maybe one day you want to use the same attendees of your event that attends across your different speaker series or smaller events, and you want to gather them all into one in-person event, and that would be the graduation of your event, or that would be the evolution of your event. It runs virtual, but then there is a day where people meet up and have the same focus, connecting business people together. On the other hand, you have people that are running in-person events. They prepare for it the whole year, and they want to host smaller sub-events throughout the year so they can warm up for the big day that they have. So these two formats are becoming more and more every day, one thing that complements the other one, right? So when you look for the event engagement apps or the apps that you will be using, you want to use something that allows you to switch between these easily and it still be the same application that you will be using. The issue that you will probably face is it's a wild space right now. Everyone is trying to make as much money as possible in hard times. So most of the applications that are available right now are really trying to get their clients locked into their own platforms. And one of these things is basically when you migrate your data, you want it to stay in one place, and it's hard to keep taking it from one place to another. So make sure that it's, as I said, it's not vendor locked. And a lot of them as well would ask you, would be co-managed. And this is something that is maybe not perfect for event organizers now. that if you want to have an event, you contact some company, you will go to all of these apps and you will find request a demo or request a quote. And what they try to do from here is that once you request a quote or a demo, they will know more about the scope that you need. They will prepare some things for you from their back end. You will put a deposit, and from there, you run your event, and it will be co-managed. You manage some part of the technology and you manage the other parts. But none of the applications at the moment offers the whole experience where you can do it on your own, by yourself, right? So that's one of the challenges. And the last challenge is that it's expensive to do that. So how can we offer, aspiring event managers or the stuck ones, something where they can do all their trial and error, try different applications every day, see which ones they like, which ones suit their events, without having to keep paying every day and spending so much money into research, basically, So, what we did in MICEtribe is this, actually. We decided that we're not going to chase the money now. And all the tools that we used for ourselves, that we wanted, that were giving us the competitive advantage against other competition, we decided we're going to put all of these in the hands of event organizers to enable them today to run events on their own without any co-management. And then we worked so hard, really. We worked a full year into how do we simplify the process and make it easier and easier and easier and easier, that any computer user can just use it. And by something as simple as one click, you can change your event format. And everything will be calculated automatically and happen automatically, so you don't have to stress about it and look for or worst case to actually have an error, or something while running your event. So this is where we decided in the end that this is going to be our mission. We're going to leave our application in the hands of any event organizer. And from there, day by day, we're going to listen to what they want. We're going to allow them to connect any app they want to our platform. Some of them we are integrating, but also anyone can add their own, not by a marketplace or something like this. No, you can literally copy paste the target link of any event application you're using, and MICEtribe will calculate for you the attendance and so on. All of this is basically for free. So if you are running virtual events, what the experience would be that once you put the registration form somewhere, people register on your event and they receive a confirmation email like this. And in that confirmation email, as you can see, there are several cards. And some of these cards are to allow people to go and attend the event physically. And some of them is to launch the app that you chose to run on this event. And once people click on that, we record that this person have attended the event virtually, and we update the record with that, right? And let's say for some reason you're not going to be able to host the physical part anymore, or the in-person part. All you need to do, go back to the platform and change the format to in-person, for example. And that automatically will recalculate all of these confirmations, resend them to people, and and you are working from there. Or the other way around. Sorry, you don't click in person, you will click in virtual, right? Of course, we are hoping for things to get back and you go on site and run in-person events. So one of the things as well that we kept in focus is, okay, what happens if people go back? And we didn't stop working on our on-site systems. We also, enhance them in a way that allows people in any part of the world to take a computer and any printer and go and start working on site. They can print their badges, do all the check in and out, track the attendance, all of these kind of things without actually having to rely on another system, because we know this is coming back. All right. One of the things you will probably face is the tracking of the attendance. If you are allowed to have an event today, you will probably be asked to monitor the venue capacity and access in all times. So we also developed some tool within our application that allows event managers to create several subzones in their event. And during the event, they can put this on a screen or share it with, I don't know, fire brigades or health authorities and so on, to show and give confidence to these entities and to the attendees of how many people are inside the venue and if it's safe to go in or not, and so on, right? So this is one of the tools that we added. And day by day, as we learn what people need to run successful events, we keep adding these tools. What's the charge that we are putting now? Nothing really. We're opening that for free so we can have that enabler happen today. So later the market can recover faster and better. And hopefully we get some part back in the good karma that we do. As of today, we have anyone who registers, they can, if you just go to MICEtribe and click sign up, you will from there have your own account. You can then, after this, click on the support icon, and from there arrange for a walkthrough where someone of our team can take you through the whole process on how to create events, how to move between different formats. Most of our clients actually don't need that at all. They say the experience is very easy and they have done it themselves. But if you need it, it's there. And at the moment, as long as your events are less than 300 attendees, they are absolutely for free. We don't charge anything. And for anyone that is an attendee or coming from your network, we will also give them 2-month pro accounts for free, which will allow them to explore whatever they want for free. In short words, we will support them in any way to allow them to get back on their feet and start running events as they used to be and start reaping results again. So yeah, that's all I have today. Thank you, Stelios, and this is my info as well, and my LinkedIn. So again, if anyone reach out to me and they are stuck there and they want a solution, we will support them from our side with any mean that we can.
Ahmed, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation and for great points. You started with the very beginning of the meaning of the handshake and its importance in the development of personal and business relationships. And today, that as a result of the pandemic, we're not even allowed, quote unquote, to shake hands, turning to some extent the handshake into a digital handshake. And you gave us a very detailed and insider overview of the evolution of a very valuable part of our professional lives, which is events, and how virtual events and virtual event platform capabilities have evolved. And then also you spoke about the pros and cons of events happening at physical locations and those that happen virtually. And of all that we should be expecting to experience in the near future with regards to the overall event experience, live, digital, hybrid apps, and great practical advice for all those who want to digitize their events. Ahmed, which industries or which event and meeting types do you feel will continue to be comfortable happening in virtual format? What about corporate travel altogether for small meetings or regardless of meeting size? Which of them do you feel will quickly return back to happening at physical locations, given that we are okay with from a health standpoint and back again to be able to travel? How do you think this whole industry is going, or experience is going to evolve, given that we are pandemic free?
Yeah. So the events that are service-based, these are the ones that would probably recover the first. So for example, if you have a career fair or a job fair and so on, this is something that is very easy to take digital today. People can go meet the exhibitors, have interviews online, they can submit their CVs and so on. The whole thing is service-based, and it can easily go online quickly. And most probably, as you said, when things get back to normal, these guys will always have the hybrid format as their best format. Some of the other ones is very challenging. So for example, things that are product-based, such as food and so on, I believe it will become a percentage. They're still going to become hybrid, but there will be a percentage based on the event. So again, if it's a service-based, most probably it's going to be 60% virtual, 40% people attending in person. And if it is product-based exhibitions or trade fairs and so on, these will most probably become 70, 80% in person and 30% virtual. If you think about it, there is, for example, sports events, you're watching a football match, but somehow, I don't know, 60 years ago or 40 years ago or something like this, people started by, when television started becoming in every house, somehow people started, attending that virtually. It is the virtual attendance if you think about it, and people are happy and content with that. That's fine. And same thing will probably happen with events, with product-based events, where, the experience is important there, but you can also somehow get part of it.
Another area that has been that has seen some change and has been impacted by everything we have been experiencing is overall general revenue generation opportunities. So for event organizers who may have been used in the case of events at physical locations to expect to have some revenue from, let's say, registration fees, sponsor fees, strategic partnerships and collaborations, from within which sources do you think that they should be expecting to experience some revenue for, for virtual events? In the case of virtual events, which do you think are potential sources of revenue for event organizers?
Yeah, so the registration fees are still there. These are staying. Yes, they are maybe less because I need to convince you as an attendee that I understand that you maybe are not getting the full value that you're used to. So today you will pay, for example, $50 instead of $100 to attend the event virtually. But this number is changing every day, and we see that gap closing up every day. So the more and more event organizers work on delivering that experience better, they increase the ticket fee. So this is one of the revenue streams that are staying. The sponsorships is also staying, because sponsorships used to be, maybe you have some billboards on the street and some magazines and so on, but somehow without the pandemic, all these sponsorship opportunities were shifting and moving anyways to digital world. I'm going to have my social media influencers mention you. I'm going to make some few posts about you. You're going to be in the footer of every confirmation email. You're going to be featured on our website. I'm going to host your speakers and so on. This is all staying. This is also still staying. Maybe it's easier to convince someone to pay a lot of money when you will put their brand on something big or huge. And now it's all fitting in a screen. So that's not there, but day by day, probably the budgets will be spent in various ways of sponsorship. So that is also, I believe, one of the things that are staying. If the rest was, I don't know, in valet parking or in catering and so on, these are in decline. These are not and they were not the biggest revenue streams in the first place anyways. But the main two revenue streams are staying, and they're actually progressing.
In the traditional, let's say, event ecosystem globally, one of the key members of that whole environment have been hotels and conference centers and all sorts of big real estate dependent brick and mortar operations. Would you have some thoughts as to how those would, given that they have the real estate, how should they be adjusting accordingly to stay valid and continue to also evolve with the way that the industry evolves and the capabilities evolve, given again that they have a lot of real estate that they need to see how they can keep on making money out of?
So this is for sure a big struggle for them, but they have the location where they can have these virtual event studios that others cannot, for example. So this is one of the opportunities that they can have there. And they could be the supplier of the registration platforms and the content as well, helping in delivering that content. They have several MCs and so on. So there are services that they can still sell virtually that will allow them to do that. The whole point for or the main advantage that they have is that they have a venue, and that venue could still be used in delivering a virtual experience, you know. So when you attend an event, you're not just seeing squares and, you know, portraits in the middle. You are seeing actually more content and more engaging elements on the screen. So this is one of the opportunities that I believe they have. They are actually the main entities that can push and enable event organizers to start having hybrid events by saying, come to my venue, I will offer you this and that service for free. I will support you here. These are the areas that you don't have strong yet, but I have them. And instead of having 10,000 attendees here, we will only host 2,000. And the rest of the 8,000, we will make sure for you through marketing and through giving you the right technology and all of that, that they will attend. So your attendance will stay the same. It really needs to be a collaborative work between venue owners, license holders, and event organizers. And of course, the event tech.
Absolutely, Ahmed. And you gave us also a very optimistic thought of the future for, again, a very big segment of the industry, which is the hotels and the conference center owners and stuff and operators. Thank you so much again for your presentation and for being a part of what we do at Leading Entrepreneurs of the World. Congratulations on all of your success to you and your team so far, and we're all excited, very excited to continue supporting MICEtribe and admiring your growth and everything you guys do. Thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Same here, Stas. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. Have a great day. Ciao. Bye-bye.